שכן חברו ליצורים לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפועל, לרומם, להדר, לברך, לעלה ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות. דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך,
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו.
ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול ותשבחות, אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חיי העולמים.
Amen. Page 90.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ביום הדברת חילותי ביומך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיירו בית ישראל, בהגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם עלמיה, יתברך. וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. בריחו.
יהי לך מכל בחנה ושרתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דהמירן בעולמה ואמרו
Amen.
Amen.
Please rise for Baruch. It is on page 92. Seated.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
Page 94. Hakol Yeruchah.
אין קדוש כבוד. אין גר גמרנו בעולם הזה ואין זולת מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא, אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו בתחיית המתים.
Eladon is on page 96.
אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו מלא עולם, דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו, המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישור לבני חיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו, טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת, בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נעזיבם בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים ביים הרצון קונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו, צהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו כל צבא המרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ויופנים וחיות הקודש. לא ילשה שבת מכל המעשים. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אורי שעשית יפארוך הסלם.
Please turn to page 102.
תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים יוצר משרתים כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים בימה וביראה רצונם, הונם, וכולם בוטחים את פיהם בקדושה וטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה. ומברכים ומשבחים ומברים ומריסים ומקדישים וממליכים
את שם האל המלך הגדול הגדול והקדוש הוא
וכולם מגמרים עליהם ומלכות שמיים
זה מזה
ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ונימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ויאמרים ביראה
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו
והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנשאים לעומת צרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו
לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו.
104
בורא רפואות נורא תהילות אדון אדון הנפלאות המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית כאמור יוסעורים גדולים כי לעולם חסדו אור חדש על ציון תאיר אור חדש על ציון תאיר
ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו
מהרה לאורו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Amen. Ahava Rabbah, page 106. Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola V'Teva, Chamata Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Ba'avor Avoteinu, Shebatchu B'cha, Avinu Malkeinu, ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו למדנו, אבינו הרחמן, הרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין, להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות. ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והארנו בתורתך ודבק לבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה
את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והגיבור בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
V'havi'enu l'shalom, gather our people in peace, O Lord, from the four corners of the earth, page 108.
V'havi'enu l'shalom, me'arba kanfot haaretz, v'tolichenu komeniut le'artzenu, ki el poel yeshuotatam, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול.
סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה.
ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר מעמו ישראל באהבה.
אמן.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתן על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue silently, 112, 113. Page 114. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור,
דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי ידיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הקנה כתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, עשיתם את כל מצוותיי,
והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם
אמת. 116, אמת.
אמת ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר ונאמן ואהוב וחביב ונחמד ונעים ונורא ואדיר ומתוקן
ומקובל וטוב יפה. הדבר הזה לעולם ועד.
לדור ודור קיים ושמו קיים וכיסו נכון ומלכותו וימורתו ליד קיים.
קיימת.
קיימים נחמדים יד כל מאור. מלכנו מלך אבותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו יוצרנו צור הודינו ומצילנו ישועתנו פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך
אין אלוהים זולתך. Page 119, Ezrat Avotenu, we read responsively. 119. You have ever been the help of our ancestors, a shield and a redeemer to their children in every generation. Happy is the person who obeys your commandments, who takes to heart the words of your Torah.
Truly are the Lord of your people, mighty King, champion their cause.
You are the first and you are the last. Besides you, we have no sovereign or redeemer. You revealed your saving power at the sea when the children of Israel passed through in safety. And therefore they praised and extolled you. They offered you prayers of fervent thanksgiving. You humble the haughty and raise up the lowly. You free the captives and redeem the weak. When they cry out to you. Page 120, Tehilot.
Tehilot li'el elyon baruch hu mevorach. Moshe v'nei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba v'amru chulam
Mi kamocha ba'ilim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedor ba'kodesh.
Nora Tehilot
O sefer Shira chadasha, shibuchu geulim, leshimcha al sfat hayam, yachad kulam hodu, ve'hilichu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Please rise. Huma be'ezrat Yisrael, u'v'deichinu mecha, Yehuda be'Yisrael, go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo,
Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch ata Adonai, Ga'or Yisrael.
Amen. 122.
Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו ויאהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נורים ורופא הודים ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמנתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק, משמיעים קול. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק, משמיעים קול. מתנסים לעומת צרפים, מתנסים לעומת צרפים, מתנסים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך? תמלוך בציון, וקרוב וקרוב ימינו, לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגדל ותתגדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. והננו תירנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם עיר ציון, לדור ודור, לדור ודור. הללויה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד דור לך לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד גוד לך כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה וקדוש אתה כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Kaddish Shalom is on page 136.
יתקדש ויתקדש מלווה.
Amen.
ביום דברך אלוהי מלך מלכותי בחייך וביומך ובחייך ובית ישראל ואקדש הקריבים רועמי.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Olam Olamei Almayam.
יתברך ישתבח יפעל יתרום על יתנשא ויתהדר וילגל שמי דקודשה.
בריחו.
בריחו לילה מן כל בחרה ושירתה, תשבחה דמרגתה, תאמירן בימיו ימרו, אמן.
אמן.
תתקבל שלום דהון ורונדר על ישראל, קודם אבו נשמעיה וימרו.
אמן.
יהי שלום וג'מאי וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו.
אמן.
נושא שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל וימרו.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Wonderful to be with you this morning. So glad you're here. We continue now with our Torah service, page 180.
אין יבוך אלוהים אדוני ויהין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד Adonai hoz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, Avraham eitiva b'rtzonecha et Zion, tivneh chomot Yerushalayim tivneh chomot Yerushalayim ki v'cha levad batachnu melech el ram v'nisa Adon olami.
Please rise.
ויבין אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Middle of 184, Be'ana Rachet.
Be'ana rachet ולשמי קדישה קדישה יקירה הנאמר תושבחן בהנהר החץ בהנהר החץ ולשמי קדישה קדישה יקירה הנאמר תושבחן יהי ראווה קדמך דתפתח ליבי ביורייתא ותשלין משלין דליבי וליבה דכל עמך ישראל לטוב ולחיין ולשלום אמן. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Kod Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Echad. Gadol Adonai iti uneramema shemo yachdav lecha Adonai הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד כי כל בשמיים ובארץ כי כל בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה וימין נעשה לכל ראש רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו וישתחוו להרום רגליו וקדוש רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו וישתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו היי דרי היי דרי היי דרי די 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 היי דרי די היי דרי די 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 היי די די כי קדוש Adonai Eloheinu.
Want to move the microphone?
We'll slide it right on. Okay, that'll work. I'll take these.
You want me to put those in the back somewhere?
Yeah, actually, these can go. Just
on the top?
stick them right on the top. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're all set. Thanks, Mark. Huh? Here.
He's got it
Little
over
bit.
here.
Yeah.
Then, henchman. Go use the machine.
We'll allow the rabbi a little more time to schmooze this morning in honor of the special occasion.
He can schmooze on any occasion. Every occasion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you the whole family.
Oh, okay. Are you going to do from down here?
I think we're here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're number three. We're number three.
Are you doing
No.
two?
Jack,
Just one?
Jack, and
Oh, so you're going to do number 3?
should I call them up? You want to just call us up, and I'll call everyone else up. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll say some words before you guys.
Sounds good. Oh, okay, sounds good. Shabbat shalom, everybody. You may be seated. Korach is not the most auspicious of Torah portions to have a special anniversary, but it does not dull or diminish my joy over this day, despite the fact that Korach is such a low kind of Torah portion. But that's okay. This is a high point day for me. This is actually exactly 10 years since Jeanette Ziegler and I started, because I believe that July 1st was a Sunday 10 years ago. So this is b'diuk, exactly the day. And I'm very, very happy to still be standing in front of you and to have you sitting before me. It's a great, great honor. So Korach is, as I mentioned, sort of like the nadir of the desert. the low point of being in the desert for the Israelites. Although this was a long time in coming because things were getting progressively worse. And it's not as if everything goes up from here. It's an up and down sort of process for the Israelites. Korach himself is I'll talk about this a little bit later on. Korach is a Levite. He's among the privileged people. He and his family, in fact, his supporters are. Korach is waging a religious or Levitical insurrection or rebellion against Aaron and his authority, and Dotan and Abiram are waging more of a political rebellion against Moses' authority. These two stories are combined in Torah, turned into one. It's a little confusing at times to know where things are, which is the Korach rebellion and which is the Dotan Abiram rebellion. But either way, it's a rebellion. It's an insurrection. And, as we'll read Torah, as I'm sure many of you know, Korach seems to make a lot of sense. He has this sort of populist message that seems to make sense, where he says the whole house of Israel, all of God's people are holy. So why do you, Moses and Aaron, get to lord it over us? And Moses famously says, Rav lachem, like you're overreaching. Rav lachem means there's too much for you. You're taking more than you deserve. But in fact, he's also saying, Rav lachem, you already have a lot. You are already privileged. And one message from Korach is that despite pretty words that people might sometimes say, we've got to be able to distinguish sincere words and reasonable protests from rank demagoguery. And Korach is known and really reaffirmed in our rabbinic tradition to be rank demagoguery. That's what he was. And that's what we all, unbelievably, even in these days, have to be on guard against, even in our democratic society, as we all know. So, and we as Jews know that from our history as well, something to be very vigilant about in throughout our lives and history. And so, we begin at Numbers chapter 17, verse 25, on the following pages. And I thank Julie, my wife, for finding these pages for us this morning. Well done, Julie. If they're right, well done. I'm sure they are. In the Eitz Chaim Chumash, which we have here in the sanctuary, page 869. In the JPS Hebrew English Tanakh, page 325. And in the Sansino Chumash or Hertz Chumash, page 645. Once again, Numbers chapter 17, verse 25. For our first Aliyah Torah, Deb Dragon will chant this Torah blessing in memory of her mother, Dorothy Greenberg, in just a moment. Our laner is Benji Behrman. Benji, can you hear me?
Rabbi, I can hear you and ready to lead the rebellion through this parsha together.
Luckily, you're leading the rebellion from afar, so no one's in danger here, at least.
No insurrection here, don't worry.
Vaya'azor, v'yagem yoshia l'chol ha'choshbim bo v'nomar.
Amen.
Amen. Ha'kol havu godel Eloheinu nu chavod la'torah. Ta'amod chana pesel bat tzvi ha'kohen udvorah. Baruch shenatan Torah l'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Atem hadikim b'Adonai.
Atem hadikim b'Adonai Elohechem, chayim kulchem hayom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe hashev et matei Aharon lifnei ha'edut lamishmer lot livnei Mary udcha Telunotam me'alai velo yamutu vayas Moshe kasher tziva Adonai oto kenasa vayomru b'nei Yisrael el Moshe lemor achein gavanu, avanu kulanu avadnu, kol hakerev el mishkan Adonai yamut, haim etamnu ligvoa, vayomer Adonai el Aharon ata uvanecha ubeit avicha itach tisu et avon hamikdash ve'ata uvanecha itech tisu et avon kehunatchem vegam et achecha mate levi shevet avicha hakrev itach vayilavu alecha v'shartucha ואתה ובניך איתך לפני אוהל העדות, ושמרו משמרתך ומשמרת כל האוהל את כלי הקודש והמזבח לא יקרבו ולא ימותו גם הם גם אתם, ונלוו עליך ושמרו משמרת אוהל מועד לכל עבודת האוהל, וזר לא יקרב עליכם ושמרתם את משמרת הקודש ואת משמרת המזבח, לא יהיה עוד קצף על בני ישראל, והני הנה לקחתי את אחיכם הלוויים מתוך בני ישראל, לכם מתנה נתונים על אדוני לעבוד את עבודת אוהל מועד, ואתה ובניך איתך תשמרו את כהונתכם אל כל דבר המזבח ומבית לפרוכת, ועבדתם עבודת מתנה, אתן את כהונתכם והזר הקרב יומת.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam netah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshua Koach, to have your mother's memory for blessing. Thank you so much. For our second Aliyah La Torah, Jackie Billings and Jack Lawasser. Jack is our indefatigable, tireless chair of religious services, and thank you for everything that you do. Ya'amdu Yaakov bat Yisrael Udevora Yaakov ben Abraham Vishmona Thalia Hashniya.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Aharon ba'ani hine natati lecha et mishmer terumotai lechol kadshei b'nei Israel lecha netataim lemoshecha u'vanecha lechok olam zayeh lecha mikodesh hakodashim min ha'esh korbanam lechol minchatam uchol chatotam uchol ashamam asher yashivu li kodesh kodashim lecha u'vanecha ve'kodesh hakodashim tochalenu kol zachar yochal oto kodesh yiheh lach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshua Kochachem, Jackie and Jack, thank you so much. A prayer of healing. Mi sheberach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yirapei et ha'cholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal the following: Susan Sheba, Bluma Sarah bat Rivka, Miriam Gila bat Dina Chaya, Shmarian Grossman, Chava bat Yehudit, Josh Little, Helen Risky, Malka Leah bat Rivka Devora, Ivan ben Alexandra, Shimon ben Mina, Shlomo ben Hasia, Fred Siegel, Be'er Gedalia ben Brindle, Emily Dana, Leah bat Rivka, Burton Chapnick, Daniel Golinia, Janet Kaiser, Bernie Berg, Shandel Rivka bat Gittel, Kathy Fleming, Eric Sinzant, Paige Jaffe, Rosario Alcaraz, Julie Pappas, Roberta Moore, Rick McCullough, Terry Ann Gannon, Candy Siegel, Joanne Alberstein, Harold Harris, Benjamin Medina, Rose Ferger, Bluma Riska Bat Chana, Rabbi Mel Lifshitz, Alan Kay, Sandy Gerber Weissman, Vanessa Jacobs, Shelia Dalal. Are there others to add for our healing prayer this morning? HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for them. May their health be restored and their strength revived. May God swiftly send them a complete refuah, a complete healing of body and of spirit. And we say,
Amen.
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 Thank you. For the third Aliyah LaTorah, I'm pleased to call forward my family who is here, and I know that Betsy Weil is listening in as well.
Hello, Betsy.
Julie Weil, Ruthie Weil, Sammy Weil.
Come on up, guys. Come on up. Yeah. Oh, here they are. Okay, gang. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi, Julie, Betsy, Sammy. Did I not say Ruthie? You're right here. I promise. You're right there. So Shabbat Shalom, friends. This truly is a joyous, wonderful Shabbat, and one that I am so personally pleased to participate in as we honor Rabbi Weill, Jeffries, your 10 years of leadership here at EHNTJC. It's been a privilege and a joy to share the bima with you and to serve this congregation with you. And I have grown to deeply admire your leadership, the compassion, the love for Jews and Judaism, and the humanity which you bring to everything that you do. So, Rabbi, a name that you'll be familiar with is Ron Wolfson. So Ron Wolfson, friends, is a much-in-demand consultant to synagogues and other Jewish institutions. He was one of the founders of what was called Synagogue 2000, which was the movement to reimagine and reinvigorate synagogue life in the 21st century now. Wolfson's approach to enriching and sustaining contemporary synagogue life can be summarized, I think, best in the title of his work called The Spirituality of Welcoming. Wolfson suggests that a spiritual community is one with, quote, an ambience of welcome, a place where everyone is treated b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God, and living within a culture of honor. During the time I have been privileged to work with you, Jeffrey, I have observed your approach to rabbinic leadership is one that could come straight from Wolfson's spirituality of welcoming. Friends, see if you agree with me that Wolfson's definition of a welcoming and spiritually vibrant synagogue sounds very much like our congregation right here, EHNTJC, that Rabbi Weill and Julie and his family have created and work every day to sustain. According to Wolfson, and through your leadership, I believe, EHNTJC is a place where worship experience is dynamic and moving, a place where everyone is encouraged to study, a place where everyone is committed to tikkun olam, the repairing of our fractured world, a place to turn for comfort and support in times of trouble, no doubt, and a place that embraces the possibilities of change, unafraid to experiment and even to take risks, and finally, a place of deep partnership between the clergy and the laity. So as Tevye said, sounds familiar, no? Right? You have created, Rabbi Weill, an environment of extreme inclusivity, a community where everyone feels at home, welcome and accepted no matter where we are on our Jewish journey. Your leadership, your passion for Judaism, and your compassion as a human being are reflected in every aspect of our congregational life, and for this we are deeply blessed and deeply grateful. Your values shape and reflect our values, not only during services and life cycle events, but also in the day-to-day of synagogue life, in meetings, in classes, in community events, in pastoral work. Indeed, every interaction you have with our congregants and staff is purposed to deepen our connection to Judaism and community. By modeling your vision and values of Judaism in everything you do, you serve as a dugma ishit, a personal example to each and every one of us in our personal journeys to create ethical, meaningful, and spiritually vibrant Jewish lives. For that, we are all grateful. Mechayel l'chayel. May you go from strength to strength. Toda Rabbah and Mazel Tov. Amen. Did you hear what he said? It was beautiful and all true. Yes, it was. Okay, now. Ya'amdu. Oh, you better remember that. Shoshana Bat Chaim. V'dina Leah. Ruti Bar Rav Chaim Shoshana Shmuel Ben Rav Chaim Shoshana Verina Bat Harav Chaim Shoshana Harav Morenu, rabbi teacher, our teacher, Chaim Binyamin, Ben Davi Bester, Lealia Shlishi. Thank you so much. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Ha'ed.
Amen. V'zed lecha trumat matana melechol tenufot b'nei Yisrael lecha netatim ulbanecha v'livnotecha yitcha l'chok olam ki tahor b'veitecha yochal oto kol chelev yitzhar v'chol chelev tirosh v'dagan Reshitam et yidnu el Adonai lecha netatim bikure kol asher be'artzam asher yaviu l'Adonai lecha yihya kol tahor beveitcha yochalenu.
Amen. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yehelanu, 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 Olechol Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael. David melech Yisrael, chai v'kayam. David melech Yisrael, chai v'kayam. Chatzi Kaddish, friend, Mazel Tov. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba B'yom hadivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon
U'b'yomeichon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבם מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לי אלא מכל בחלה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעולמה וימרו Amen. Thank you so much, Cantor Gale, for those very kind words. Greatly, greatly appreciated and moved by those words. Friends, Joel Cohen will chant the Maftir Aliyah. It is at Numbers 18, verse 30, Numbers chapter 18, verse 30 on the following pages. The Eitz Chaim Chumash, page 874. The JPS Hebrew English Tanakh, page 327. And the Sansino Hertz Chumash, page 648. Once again, Maftir at Numbers 18:30. Ya'amod Shalom ben Nachum HaKohen V'lili Maftir Chazak.
You see a word that looks like the Amarta. It was right here. It was right here just a minute ago.
What's the word that you're looking for?
The Amarta. The Amarta, here we go.
Baruch hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. ואמרת עליהם בנימכם את חלבו ממנו ונחשב ללוויים כי תבואת גורן כי תבואת יקב ואכלתם אותו בכל מקום אותם, וביתכם כי שכר הוא לכם חלף עבודתכם באוהל מועד, ולא תישאו עליו חטא, וירימכם את חלבו ממנו, ואת קודשי בני ישראל לא תחללו ולא תמותו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Please rise. Dr. Ed Cohen, our president, will lift Torah, and Judy Stein will be our golelet, will roll and dress the Sefer Torah.
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah. We're doing it. Torah, Torah, Torah.
Tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Torah. Tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Torah. Tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, kehilat Yaakov. Torah Tziva lanu Moshe. And you may be seated. Our Haftarah is from 1 Samuel chapters 11 and 12. It is on the following pages. In the Eitz Chaim, page 874, no, 870. 876, 877, actually. So close. 877. This is 11:14 of 1 Samuel. In the JPS Hebrew English Tanakh, oh, my bad, that was my mistake, not hers. How do you like that? 593 in the Tanakh, and 649 in the Sansino Hertz Chumash. Joel Cohen, thank you so much.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah Moshe abdo, u'v'Yisrael amo, ובנביאי האמת והצדק. ויאמר שמואל אל העם, לכו ונלכה הגלגל, ונכדה שם המלוכה. וילכו כל העם הגלגל, וימליכו Sham Shaul lifnei Adonai b'Gilgal, v'yizbechu sham zevachim shlamim lifnei Adonai, vayishmach Sham Shaul v'chol anshe Yisrael ad me'od. Vayomer Shmuel el kol Yisrael, hine shamati v'kol lachem l'chol asher amartem li, va'amlich aleichem melech ve'ata hine hamelech mit alech lifnechem va'ani zakanti vasavti uvanai hinam itchem va'ani hitalachti lifnechem min urai ad hayom hazeh hineni anu vi neged Adonai v'neged Mashiach et shor milakachti v'chamor milakachti ve'et mi ashakti et mi ratzoti umiyad mi lakachti chofer ve'alim einai bo ve'ashiv lachem vayomeru lo ashaktanu v'lo ratzotanu v'lo lakachta miyad ish me'uma vayomer alehem et Adonai b'bachem ve'ed Mashiach hayom hazeh ki lo mitzatem b'yadi me'uma vayomer ed vayomer Shmuel el ha'am Adonai asher asa et Moshe ve'et Aharon va'asher he'ela et avotechem me'eretz Mitzrayim ve'ata hityatzavu ve'ishtafta itchem lifnei Adonai et kol tzidkot Adonai asher asa itchem ve'et avotechem ka'asher ba Yaakov Mitzrayim vayizaku avotechem el Adonai vayishlach Adonai et Moshe ve'et Aharon vayotziu et avotechem miMitzrayim vashivum b'makom hazeh vayishkechu et Adonai Elohechem vayimkor otam b'yad Sisra sartzefa chatzor uvyad Pelishtim uvyad melech Moav vayilachamu bam vayizaku el Adonai vayomru chatanu ki azavnu et Adonai vana avod et haba'alim ve'et ha'ashtarot ve'ata hatzilenu miyad oyevenu v'na'avdenu avdecha. Vayishlach Adonai et Yerubal ve'et Badam ve'et Yiftach ve'et Shmuel vayatzel etchem miyad oyevechem misaviv vateshvu betach vatiru ki nachash melech b'nei Ammon ba'alechem v'tomeru li lo ki melechim loch aleinu v'Adonai Elohechem malkachem ve'ata Hinei hamelech asher bechartem asher she'eltem v'hinei natan Adonai aleichem melech im tiru et Adonai va'avadatem otah Ushmatem bekolo velo tamru et pi Adonai v'yitem gam atem v'gam hamelech asher malach alechem achar Adonai Elohechem Ve'im lo tishmu b'kol Adonai umritem et pi Adonai v'haita yad Adonai b'chem uva'avotechem gam ata hityatzavu uru et hadavar hagadol hazeh asher Adonai oseh le'enechem halo katsir chitim hayom ekra el Adonai vayiten kolot umatar uda Hira'atchem rabbah asher asitem be'enei Adonai lishol lachem melech vayikra Shmuel el Adonai vayitein Adonai kolod umatar bayom hahu Vayira kol ha'am od et Adonai ve'et Shmuel vayomru kol ha'am el Shmuel hitpalel ba'ad avadecha el Adonai Elohecha va'al Mut kisafafnu al kol hatotenu ra lisholanu melech vayomer Shmuel el ha'am al tira'u atem asitem et kol hara hazot ach al tasuru me'aharei Adonai va'avadatem et Adonai b'chol levavchem v'lo tasuru ki acharei hatohu asher lo yoilu v'lo yatzilu ki tohu hema Ki lo yitosh Adonai el amo ba'avur shemo hagadol ki ho'il Adonai la'asot etchem lo le'am. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol ha'orot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'mdaber u'mkayem, shekol dvarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'emanim dvarecha, v'davarecha midvarecha, chol lo yashuv rekam. Ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'ne'eman b'chol dvarav. Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu v'la'aluvat nefesh toshia b'mherai b'yameinu baruch atah Adonai mesamech Tzion b'vaneha Samachenu Adonai Eloheinu be'Eliyahu hanavi abdecha u'malchut Beit David Meshichecha b'mheira yalvo v'yagel libenu al kiso lo yeshev zar v'lo yinkalu od acherim et kavodo ki v'shem kodshecha nishbata lo shelo yichben eiro l'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai Magen David. Al HaTorah, v'al HaAvodah, v'al HaNavim, v'al Yom HaShabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'kedusha v'linucha, l'chavod u'tifaret. Al HaKol, Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, u'mbarachim otach, Yitbarach Shemcha, b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Yeshua koach, Yeshua koach. It's like your bar mitzvah. Thank you. I appreciate that enthusiasm for Haftarah and for Joel Cohen. Thank you, Joel. Yeshua koach. Friends, for our prayer for Medinat Yisrael, please turn to the inside back cover of our prayer books. It will be led by our past president and chair of Ways and Means and so much more, including the force behind this weekend's events and festivities, Ada Rabinowitz. Thank you so much, Ada.
Hi, everyone. It's
Hi.
just an honor for me to read the prayer of the State of Israel at this time when we're honoring and celebrating 10 wonderful years with our Rabbi Jeffrey and Julie Weill. So I want everyone to join me. I'm going to do it in English. The prayer for the State of Israel. Our Father in heaven, rock and redeemer of the people of Israel, bless the State of Israel with its promise of redemption, shielded with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace, guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
Yeshua koach. Thank you so much, Ada. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Ashrei is on page 204.
Ashrei yoshevei beitecha, od yehalelucha selah.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am shenana Elohav.
David armimecha Eloi hamelech v'yavarecha shimcha לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך, הללה שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני מהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר.
דור לדור שבח מעשיך, גבורותיך יגידו.
הדר כבודותיך ודברי נפלותיך עשיך.
ועזוז נורותיך יאמרו, דתך אספרנה.
זכר טובך יביאו וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים ודל חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, קורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו, ופוד הדר מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, זוקף לכל הכפופים.
הנה חולדך יסבלו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך, משפיע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קורב, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יריב יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני כל אוהביו, וכל הרשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, יברך כל בשר, שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
אנחנו נברך, yeah, please rise. מעתה ועד
עולם, הללויה. יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו, הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לימו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל המקרבו. הללויה, הללויה. מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, הסתחבו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. קול אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני המים, המים רבים. קול אדוני בכוח, קול אדוני בהדר. קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני ארזי הלבנון. ויקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רעמים. קול אדוני חוצב לבורש, קול אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש. קול אדוני יחולל איילות, ויחשוף יערוד, ובכלו כולו כולו אומר כבוד. כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו ושלום. Shabbat shalom. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, Marsha. ובנוחה יומם. Let's open the ark. Follow me. Eitz Chaim hi למחזיקים בה לתומכיה מגו דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני לך ונשובה חריש ימינו כקדם. May be seated if you wish.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure. Yes, very informative.
You may be seated. In fact, I insist upon it. Good Shabbos. I can wait. I have all day. Well, it's so nice to have everyone together. For whatever the occasion, just to be together is really certainly a blessing to have us, this sanctuary, more filled up. And so Shabbat Shalom to all who are here in the sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom to all who are Zooming in. We're all one congregation after all, so great to be with every one of you. Moses and Aaron face, in this Torah portion, as I alluded to before, a severe threat to their leadership, or to their leaderships, because they had distinct roles, and really their lives as well, from insurrectionists in this week's Torah portion and last week's Torah portion. And these insurrectionists are no mere ragtag bunch. They are themselves Anshe Shem, men of repute. They are tribal leaders, heads of tribes. They are princes of the desert. They're like the rich and the famous, royalty. It is those people who unsheath their swords, like their rhetorical swords in a way, and stir up the masses against the appointed, by God, the appointed leadership of Moses and Aaron. But Moses and Aaron are vindicated by God. I like to think about these brothers, being a brother myself. I like to think about, throughout Torah, how they felt about each other, these two, after all they had been through together, how they might have admired each other, how they might have looked like each other and talked like each other, how they might have resented each other perhaps, because after all, siblings are siblings. Maybe they annoyed each other a little bit, and maybe they annoyed each other because they were similar to one another. They certainly complemented one another because they were different and they had complementary skills. And their respective skills, who they were, led God to give them different roles in the great mission of freeing the Israelites from Egypt and leading them through the Midbar and all that stuff. They were different, but leaders each with different spheres of influence. They made for a good pair, Moses and Aaron. These brothers in their 80s, these brothers were a partnership, indispensable to God, indispensable to each other, indispensable to the people. Partners and friends are indispensable to all of our lives, to our well-being, and we all need them, and we seek them out. Partners keep you, keep me, keep us company. Partners, friends, treat us kindly, even when they challenge. Partners good partners should make us laugh, or at least smile. Good partners make you feel like you're on the same team, or even to be on a team and feel like you're on a team is a blessing. Good partners make you feel more confident in yourself and more optimistic about the world. Good partners lighten burdens, and they lift you up, even if they don't know that you are feeling down. Our tradition is full of storied partnerships. Adam and Eve, first partners. They were partners for who knows how long in the Garden of Eden, and even when they were expelled from the garden and cast out into this wild world that we live in, they were still partners. They still had each other. Abraham and Sarah, partners in hospitality and in leadership. And when Moses and Aaron suffered from pessimism, another pair, Joshua and Caleb, stepped forward as compadres of optimism. That's last week's Torah portion. And Benot Zelophehad, the daughters of Zelophehad, about whom we will read in a couple of weeks, they were bold partners in seeking justice. And some of us just completed the book of Ruth just this last Thursday, a couple days ago, in our Thursday morning class, 11 o'clock. You're welcome to join. Ruth and Naomi, daughter-in-law and mother-in-law, they were partners, and they healed each other's brokenness through chesed, through steadfast loyalty and love. Others, David and Jonathan, were the closest of friends. There would be no prophet Elisha if there were no prophet Elijah, Elisha's teacher. And there would be no prophet Jonah if there were no whale or Dag Gadol, big fish. Hillel and Shammai, Talmudically, they sparred intellectually, but they sparred with respect. And there is more, of course, partnerships. Take, for instance, another couple of Jews in partnership, Simon and, yes, of course, Simon and Garfunkel. They never sang so well as when they were singing and harmonizing with each other. My greatest hope, friends, my sincerest, deepest, greatest hope for 10 years is that we all of us find partners here, under this roof or through our very own Zoom accounts. I pray that we have found and continue to find friends. This is what Julie and I have found here at EHNTJC. Partners, running partners, biking partners, walk on the wild side partners, hiking partners, Kolenu partners, rock band partners, davening partners, drumming partners, teaching partners, preaching partners, lunch partners, brunch partners, Emma's partners, tennis partners, spiel partners, schnapps partners, a shooting range partner, partners in learning Torah, partners in dancing the hora. Couldn't resist that. Partners from 3 years old to 13 years old, of course, our B'nai Mitzvah, and all the way up, seriously, to 103 years old. Early morning bird watching partners, Friday night bird eating partners, Zoom chat partners, texting partners, particularly across the table during long board meetings, partners who challenge my best sermons, partners who compliment my very worst, partners in smoothies, partners in blintzes, even though I'm lactose intolerant, a partner who cut my hair, medical advice partners, tax advice partners, Starbucks partners, short stories partners, Talmud partners, Midrash partners, God Talk, Land Beyond Torah, My Jewish Story, Folk Rock Torah, Torah Trivia, Rock Trivia partners, Vigils for Peace partners, Ping Pong partners, Chevruta partners in person and on Zoom, and a lot more, under the chuppah partners, beside a grave partners, Jerusalem partners, New York City partners, Zoom dance party partners, a Lockheed Hamantashen debate partner, yes, I lost, and of course, friends, my daily partners, my office partners here in our office at Ezra Habanim, Niles Township, to whom I am, and we all should be very, very grateful. And yes, of course, our lay leadership partners, my lay leadership partners, without whom nothing would happen here, and I could not do my job at all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm blessed, am blessed, and have been blessed to have the best clergy partners for 10 years here, cantors and rabbis who have and still do guide me. And finally, of course, a special note to my everlasting partnership, the creature of 859 Westcliff Lane, Jeba Jurusaki, which stands for Jeffrey, Betsy, Julie, Ruthie, Sammy, and Lucky. Jeba Jurusaki. Julie's and my joy. Truly, though, for this last decade, Julie's and my joy has been all of these partnerships, all of these friendships among us all. And when all is said and done, friends, partners, that is what we all deeply desire. That is what we deeply desire in our lives and within this Kehillah Kedusha, this holy community. May we all have one goal, really one goal, everything leading to it, a true chavurah, a true society of friends and of partners, a partnership shul, a web of friendships to entwine and to support, a place of few critiques and many kindnesses, a place of little gossip and much sharing, a place of no judgment and abundant tolerance. May we continue to offer this to each other, our open minds and our open hearts and our love. And so from me and Julie and Betsy and Ruthie and Sammy and Lucky, Rav Todot, abundant thanks, and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. We continue now on page 280 with Chatzi Kaddish preceding our Musaf Amidah. Amen. Amen. Hishmei Rabba Mevorach. La'olam olamei amayam.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha Brichu li'elamin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yolama v'yimeru.
Amen. We rise middle of 282, middle of the page 282.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחי מתים אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא הודים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך מימי ומחיי ומצמיח ישועה ונאמנת להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד שיח צרפי קודש המקדישים שמך בקודש ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא אל זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו כבודו מלא עולם כבודו מלא עולם משרתיו שואלים זה לזה משרתיו שואלים זה לזה היה מקום כבודו ליומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו הוא יפן ברחמים ויחון המייחדים שמו ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד האמרים ביהבה שמה אומרים שמה ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד הוא אלוהינו אבינו מלכנו ומושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם דברי קודשך כתוב לאמור ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד קוד לך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש לדור ודור לדור ודור לדור ודור נגיד קוד לך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך וישיב אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם מבועד וקדוש אתה, וקדוש אתה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ברוך אתה אדוני, הואיל הקדוש.
Kaddish Shalem is on page 260.
יתקרא ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
יום הרי ברך ידודי מלך מלכות ובחר יכל יום איכון ובחר רוב בית ישראל בך בזמן קריב אמרו אמן.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach. Olam Olamei Almaya. Yibarach.
ברח, יתברך וישתבח, ויתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר וידבר שמי קודשה.
Brichu.
בריחו לילה בין כל בגר בשרן התושבחן ונחמת אדם אירן בימיו יאמרו אמן.
Amen.
תתקבל צלותון ואותון דכל ישראל, קודם אבוהן בשמיה ויאמרו אמן.
Amen.
שלום אדוני וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל Yisrael, Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimeru.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And Yesher Koach, Cantor Gale. Thank you so much. Friends, for announcements of what is happening here at Ezra Habonim, the Niles Township Jewish Congregation, our president, Dr. Ed Cohen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
This is one heck of a day. And I'll tell you what, the seats are almost full. Whew, we got to do this more often. You've now shown us that coming in person is okay. We're even going to feed you today, so let's do it more often. That's what I say. First and foremost, before I did come today with a few friends, so just bear with me for a few minutes because we're going to be up here for a couple minutes. I must first thank everyone for wonderful services today. Of course, Rabbi, thank you so much. And Cantor, as always, thank you. Lee Levin, a davening partner, thank you. And the Torah team, Benji Berman, as always, and Cantor, thank you for your contributions there. Joel Cohn, I'm enjoying listening to you more and more each week. And I miss when you're not chanting. And a big thank you to Jack Lee for all you do, and then to Fran, our greeter today. Rabbi, I hope you know that for the last 10 years, the American people on the 4th of July has celebrated, just like they celebrate my little grandson's birthday, they celebrate you every year for your anniversary here with us. So just keep that in mind. There'll be fireworks this weekend, and this celebration is going on forever. So let me, first and foremost, Suzanne, mon ami, you will stand and use the lectern there. We're going to have just a couple folks that have either asked or we have asked to say a few words on behalf of the rabbi. So there you go.
Good Shabbos, everyone. My name is Suzanne. I wasn't born with that name, but Rabbi Weill gave it to me. So that's my name. Today we celebrate a Jew who does great things. Voila. Our Klal Yisrael is our community which emphasizes unity, thanks to Rabbi Weill. Let's see. Oop, Jack, I don't remember what I wanted to tell you all. Think. Helm, Skokie, our planet. Oh yes, please take a second right now to remember your story. What is your story with Rabbi Weill? I know I only have 3 minutes, so you have to think quickly. But take a moment. After all, with Rabbi Weill, a story is alive. It vibrates, it resonates, and it has a rhythm similar to that of his conga drums. Or perhaps it's your own Jewish story on a Monday evening. Or perhaps you're surprised when you first laid eyes on our rabbi doing his famous handstands. Or perhaps a heartfelt hug when you confided in Rabbi, whether in joy or flooded with tears. Stories are forever. Rabbi Weill is teaching us that. Mine began years ago. I was born in this synagogue. And then years after that, when I first heard about Rabbi Weill from my father. You see, my dad fell and broke his leg falling in a hole in Delaware on the 4th of July. So it's his anniversary of meeting Rabbi Weill. He needed surgery, not fireworks. He needed love, and he found Rabbi Weill. A few days after Rabbi Weill had become the new, in quotes, rabbi at Temple Bethel, right, Rabbi Weisberg? In Northbrook, Illinois, Dad got a phone call. This call began my family's love with Rabbi Weill. Who was and who is Rabbi Weill? According to my dad, he is our Rabbi Weill, wherever he may be, at the Jersey Shores, on an airplane, or playing with his dog. Rabbi Weill told me a secret shared by my dad when my dad was flying. It's a secret that Dad had never told me, and that Rabbi Weill told me, and now I know it forever. This secret shaped forever my relationship with Shema. The other day I had surgery, and I did what Rabbi Weill told me to do, repeat the Shema over and over again, and I'm okay. Rabbi Weill is a link in our lives, a link from ourselves to ourselves, a link to Judaism, each in our own way. Rabbi Weill celebrates who we are because that matters to him. Rabbi Weill, you've made some special choices in your life. You married Julie, your soulmate, and together you have raised 3 wonderful kids, Betsy, Ruthie, and Sammy. Lucky knows, too, exactly what his name means. He, too, is lucky to be yours. We are all blessed, Rabbi Weill, to be yours. May the tapestry of these past 10 years that have strong fibers keep nourishing us and shine on forever in your memories. The Navajo women weave a rug, and they always leave one little strand. Some people think it's not a completed rug, but when you speak to a weaver, you find out that that strand leads to the future and leads to other creations and other beauty, all unknown at the moment. May you always know how you've changed our lives by your teaching, your laughter, and the time that you spend being here for us. My parents' favorite song was Shalom Rav. It's what I wish for you and our community in Israel. And Rabbi Weill, you are a Jew who does great things. Toda rabba d'elev. That's partly French.
Good morning. I'll introduce myself. I'm Shelley Sutker-Dermer, and I'm the vice president of this synagogue. And it's my pleasure to participate in our Shabbat, special Shabbat, honoring Rabbi Weill and Julie for their 10-year service to our synagogue. I met Rabbi Weill in a different way. In 2012, I was one of the members of the search committee as our congregation sought to hire a new rabbi. I distinctly remember Rabbi Weill's interview, his passion, his vision, and his enthusiasm. While many of our members may have joined our synagogue based upon past religious leaders, our rabbis, our cantors, they have all stayed because of Rabbi Weill. He is the anchor of our community, sustaining us as we continually move forward in an ever-changing religious climate. What's special about Rabbi Weill? And there's a theme here you're going to see, because we did not confer when we wrote our little speeches about our rabbi, but the theme is important because it really holds true about the characteristics he has that are so special. He brings a portfolio of skills enriching our services, our education, our musical experience, and our ruach. As a result, we have a strong and vibrant congregation. He conducts Shabbat services that are spiritual and interactive. Today, look around. 100 people are here, and more on Zoom. I can't tell the number from here. So we have a very strong group here showing our support for our rabbi. He conducts Shabbat services, as I said, and on the first Friday evening of the month, he performs with his Koleno band, further inspiring our davening by incorporating music to our traditional liturgy. His commentaries on the weekly Torah portions may apply to the text to our daily lives, connecting our past and melding our future. At our Friday night services, Rabbi Weill has brought so many changes and so many unique ideas, from welcoming speeches, where every night every time we went to services on a Friday night on a Koleno, he would ask the congregants to talk about when they felt welcome, and he has always welcomed all of us. And the other section, where he asks what we're thankful for. And we are so grateful for so many things. It reminds us of the things we should be thankful for, and of course, we are thankful for Rabbi Weill. And now, of course, as you know, we talk about Jews who do great things. I love this particular section of sermons. It fascinates me to learn how contributions by fellow Jews are impactfully woven into the fabric of world history and culture. I assure you, I learn something every time he does a sermon. But on these Jews who do great things, I feel great pride when I hear about Jews I didn't know about or more about the ones I did. During the week, he is a teacher in our adult education programs. His summer classes include My Jewish Story, Torah, this week, the Book of Ruth. During the school year, he's a constant presence in our Hebrew school, helping to foster a strong Jewish identity in our next generation. He works collaboratively with our wonderful Cantor Gale, as our leader, Rabbi Weill, listens and learns from our members to continually expand opportunities for our community. His open door policy makes him accessible to render advice and counsel to all of our congregants. He works tirelessly to build consensus as we strive to be kol echad, one voice. Rabbi Weill achieved a remarkable pandemic pivot. He seamlessly transitioned this synagogue to a virtual presence, thereby sustaining our community and providing services. I know a lot of people helped in the technical side, but keep in mind what we had during the COVID pandemics and still going. Services, guidance, support at a time that was unprecedented and very, very scary. Who knew you could have Kehillah via Zoom? I want to also acknowledge that Rabbi Weill came with a partner, as we all know, our Rebbitzin, Julie Weill. She is a dynamic partner and a great addition to our synagogue. She is warm and welcoming to all of the congregants. She's been active in the sisterhood, and of course, for all of you who attend their yearly Seder, it's remarkable. If you've never been to one, go next year, because the Women's Seder is really special. Rabbi Weill and Julie are the proud parents, and you know of Betsy, Ruthie, and Sammy, but they add so much to our congregation, so I also want to acknowledge them. Most importantly, I consider Rabbi Weill to be our friend, my friend and our friend. He also, and I cannot end, of course, I'm still very involved with saying that the rabbi not only supports our Purim spiel, he performs in it. He is a talented percussionist and singer, and again, the only rabbi I have ever seen walk across the stage on his hands. That is quite unusual, I will have to say. So Rabbi Weill, thank you for all that you do now for this congregation. Yasher Koach and Kol HaKavod. Oh. And I am assuming that Rabbi Brief is available. Rabbi Brief is
yes.
on Zoom. Rabbi?
Yes, I am.
Okay, it is now your turn before Ed concludes. Thank you.
I want you to know Susan and Judge Shelley said it all. Let me just give you a few interesting numerologies, and let's learn from that in the way we talk about the Ezra Habonim, the Niles Township Jewish Congregation. First of all, this year is the 70th anniversary of the founding of Niles Township Jewish Congregation in 1952. What a blessing this congregation has been to the entire Jewish community. Secondly, 50 years ago, on the 1st of Tammuz, which was this past Thursday, we formally dedicated the Sydney Foreman Sanctuary, where we hold so many wonderful services and programs. So 70 and 50 add up to 120. That's what we're wishing for Rabbi Weill, bis 120. Thirdly, whether we realize it or not, one of the strengths of keeping our Niles Township Jewish Congregation going was its merger with Ezra Habonim in 1997, 25 years ago. So to the 70 and 50, 120, we add 25. That equals out to 145, which is the Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha Od Yahalucha Psalm that we say most every single time we daven. Happy are those who dwell in thy house. They are continually praising thee. And last but not least, to the 145, we add the 10 years that Rabbi Weill has served and continued the strength of this community to equal 155. Lest you think I'm done, let me just say that there are two special words. If A is 1 and Z is 26 for 155. The first word is possibility. I've always believed in possibility. If you will it, it is no dream. You can make it possible. Actions speak louder than words. Participation is more than just purpose alone. So presence is a gift day in and day out. Possibility is a 155 if A is 1 and Z is 26. And the next word is continuation. That's the prayer for our synagogue, to continue whereas others have left this community, not for abandonment, but for supposedly better pastures. Niles Township Jewish Congregation, Ezra Habonim, the Niles Township Jewish Congregation, has stayed and made its presence felt thanks to the leadership of Rabbi Weill and others who have joined with him, to use his favorite word, as a shatuf, a partner. We can't do it alone. No one can do it alone. We all are a team. Together, each accomplishes more. Let's remember that. And I share these thoughts with you because I have two special occasions this Shabbat, as Joel Cohen so beautifully recited, the Korach Haftorah, the Shmuel Haftorah. 47 years ago, my son was bar mitzvah in this synagogue on Parshat Korach. And today marks 18 years since I became Rabbi Emeritus. If you add up 47 and 18, you get a 65. And the good word for 65 is today and special. Today is a very special day. Let's cherish it, let's embrace it, and let's rejoice in all the blessings that we have as a congregation and as a community. Ad Mea V'Esrim, not only it's 70 years, not only it's 50 years, not only it's 25 years, not only it's 10 years or 65 years, however the numbers add up, let's make them meaningful and purposeful, and let's be nourished by them in celebrating the miracle of Rabbi Weill and his blessed bride, Julie, couple power that they have been with their three beautiful children, never forgetting how we first met when I was with Erica, may her memory be for blessing, on a walk with Israel. And we came upon the Wilds as a fivesome walking as they were on that Israel walk, and saw their specialness and their family togetherness. So I rejoice with Elaine Weill, who is in Zoom, and also with Linda, with Don Weill of Blessing, and also with Julie's dad for blessing his memory, always the beautiful family that she comes from, etc., etc. Thank you for the privilege. It's not easy to be brief while I'm speaking about Weill, but I hope I lived within the 3 minutes. Toda rabah, mazel tov.
Thank you to Suzanne and to Shelley and to Rabbi Brief. I do have a couple other friends that I brought with, and Diane and Henry will be speaking to you during the lunch in a few minutes when we transition. I had my remarks. They've been printed just about everywhere. They're in the Bite today, they're in the Bite that was online, and they're also in the bulletin. I will admit that my son, who is a professional writer, did assist in making this a very polished piece, but my message is right in there. So I just give credit where credit is due. Wow. I get a little, It's my thing, you know. I got to get a little mushy every once in a while, but I do my very best to keep going. The Cantor once said to me that as lay leaders go in synagogues, presidents and other leaders, they come and go. And Cantor, I hope you don't mind I share this. In the grand scheme of things, as a shul president, I've been around way too long. It was an endearing message, but it's a message that resonated to me because I've been doing this for 60% of the rabbi's time here. And he and I have a very unique relationship because as you've heard today, he focuses on so much about the you. And I focus a lot about the you, but I focus all about the business of you as opposed to the rest of you. So I get a little too hyper-focused on the business portion of our synagogue, and there have been times when Rabbi wanted to say a few other things, and I pushed back, and I said, I got to focus on mine, and you got to focus on yours, and you know, it's been a fun time. But I will tell you that at the end of every conversation, no matter if we're talking business or we're talking congregation, religion, stuff, we come to consensus, and we always remember that it's all about you. Because without all of you, where would we all be? And we wouldn't be having this partnership and this togetherness and all the great things that we have accomplished. Rabbi, you've been the rabbi through the transition of the world where we had to think about safety, locking doors, and having panic buttons and alarms and guards. And we've now been through COVID, and as Shelley talked about, our virtual world and transitioning to another world, and who knows what will be next. But, you know, we've weathered the storm. We've had some issues, as every other congregation in America has had with sustainability, and I will reiterate that it is the hard work that the rabbi and Julie have done here, keeping us together, making us a home somewhere that you want to be, that has really made us strong and kept us strong. And here we are 4 years after some of our financial problems, and we're stronger than ever today, still having events and activities every day. Which leads me to what's going to happen tomorrow. Because the rabbi, as you heard, likes music, and if anybody wants to come up near the bima later after we all finish and look around, there's more drums and things around here, because tomorrow is red, white, blue, and Jewish. It is the first, in my knowledge, a patriotic folk and rock Jewish music festival. So the Cantor will perform, Ruby Sage will perform, the Kalenu Band will be with us, the Night Owls will be with us, and Sally Jablow, who I saw is here today. She will also make a surprise appearance and be with us as well. For those of you that come, a small donation at the door is asked for, and you'll get gobs and gobs of little treats and foods for your small donation. For those of you who can't be here in person, please join us virtually on Zoom. That's about it, folks. We are the luckiest people in the world, and as one of our congregants once told me, they came here because they heard that we had great music and great programs, but they stayed because of the rabbi. So I leave you with that. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Ed and Suzanne and Rabbi Brief and Shelley and Cantor Gale and all of you. So let's continue with our service. I'm very, very grateful. We continue with Ein Keloheinu on page 262.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Adonenu, Michem Malkeinu, Michem Moshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru Avotenu, Lefanecha et
Ketoret
Ketoret Hasamim.
As we rise for Aleinu, also thanking Kehilat Shalom folks for being here, Skilkey Egalitarian Minyan folks for being here. Ed Bettenhausen was our Torah carrier this morning, so thank you so much to Ed and everyone. And we look forward to honoring the Urbans, George and Veronica, in a moment on your anniversary, which is on the 4th. And you'll do the motzi, and thanks for the schnapps that we'll have during the Kiddush. Page 264, Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לבני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ ומושב יקרו השמיים ממעל ושכינת עוזו בגוהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו ויראת יום וישב אותה אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד אין עוד. כי המלכות שלך היא למעט ימלוך וכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
You may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 270. We honor the following yurtzites on this Shabbat and this upcoming week. Dorothy Greenberg, George Pearlstein, Alan Rivlin, Minnie Zavel, Mose Firestone, Herman Goldsmith, Edward Karp, Albert Kaufman, Iris Levinson, Rose Palis, Edith Rubner, Fanny Weller, Samuel Kamen, Gertrude Tanner, Lori Lichtenstein, Marilyn Simon, Lily Prower, Louis Wilner, Simon Alport, Henry Feld, Betty Gittleman, Francis Rakoff Myers, Shirley Bark, Harold Chupak, John Lustig, Joseph Middleman, Celia Saltzman, Joe Schenk. And we remember from our ongoing Kaddish list the following: Rabbi Richard Hirsch, Dorothy Lipstadt, Daniel Litvak Black, Carolyn Katz, the Honorable Howard Carroll, Elaine Wayne, Lottie Goldberg Weinstein, Ken Lubowicz, Ronnie Heller, Julian Levy, Dorothy Cash, Shirley Batman, Ron Epstein, Sylvia Blivis, Harold Chisower, Leslie Farber, Barry Rose, Bert Richmond, Tamar Weisberg, Martin Rukin, Alfred Gruen, Leslie Irwin Hoffenberg, Ken Arkin, Gerda Weissman-Klein, Lester Gordon, Alex Pruzan, Joel Farber, Pearl Abrams, Cheryl Smith, Jackie Levin, Dorothy Rabin. Are there others to add for Kaddish recitation at this time? Harv. Thank you, Harv. Others? Thanks, Deanna. Diane? Thank you. Others? Yes, please. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Mickey? Thank you. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 270. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'amlich machutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitdaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudashah brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alma v'miru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. O se shalom bimramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, their memories for blessing. You may be seated as we turn the page 272, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra v'yegnasa v'chefzo kol azay melech shemo nikra v'yacharei tiflot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'u haya ve'u hove ve'u yiyeh betifara ve'u echad v'yein sheni le'amshir lo le'achvira b'li reishit b'li tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizra ve'u eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzurcheli bi'etzara ve'u nisi umanos li menat kosi be'yom ekra ve'yado afkid ruchi
ve'ishan ve'ahira
ve'im ruchi geviyahi ve'lo ira.
Kiddush, page 275, Al Kain.
Al Kain berach Adonai ma Shabbat v'yikodeshehu sabri.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagofen.
Amen. And it is my great honor to call forward Doctors Veronica and George Urban to lead us in the Motzi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. Allow me to say a few words. July 4th is for us a very special day and date. 48 years ago, we started a journey together with my partner, Alav. And 38 years ago, we started a journey to a new world from former communist Czechoslovakia to United States. And we are here, we are happy, we have a new family. Rabbi, he's my rabbi, he's our rabbi.
Thank you.
Always be our rabbi.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thank you, George and Veronica.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min ha'aretz.
Amen. B'tei avon, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Thank you. Beautiful. Your words were great. And your mustache. Did you do something different to your mustache? Yeah, you did something different to your mustache.
Is it not good?
No, it's good.
Needs a little
It's
growing.
good. No, you did a little trimming. A little
Yeah,
styling.
just for you. Beautiful.
Thank you
Enjoy.
so much. Thank you, Cantor. I love your words. I appreciate them.
Thank you.
I spent the whole career keeping my kids shielded from all my tumult, my professional life. Because, you know, I didn't want to put them in a position where they had to listen.
Were they be bored and get turned off?
Well, they lived through my whole retail days and saw all the tumult that I had to do and that. So they never got involved. But when he listened to that podcast, this was just recently, so he's 40 years old, and he says, wow.
What was the,
Well, it's my whole career, how I got started. All the
it was
people.
like a pharmacy podcast? or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Well, it's a guy, he's a fit pharmacist. He did it was like 40 minutes. We just went through from all the
Did
way.
you do it from home when you were?
Yeah, it was virtual.
I see.
So he has it as an audio and a visual thing.
Oh, I'd love to hear it. I'd really love to
I'll
hear
get
it.
you that.
Yeah, please.
It's very-
Or you just tell me what the podcast is.
I gotta go look it up.
Got it.
But
Yeah, that's
you know, what I said in the last line of my written remarks, we should sit down and just casually begin a conversation and look at the future and share with you some of the visions.
Okay.
You know, because
Interesting that you said that you've been doing it for too long. I mean, it's funny that you said that.
well, he said it to me that he meant it in a way that clergy get the opportunity to work with new lay leaders, and it kind of is a reinvigoration and a renewing spirit. But we've been through so many in your tenure.